Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Rob. I'm an English teacher with the Balkan School. We're a language school based in the French-speaking part of Switzerland, and this channel is here dedicated to helping you improve your language skills. Today we're tackling 3 commonly confused words which can be very tricky for learners of English. The words are trip, travel and journey. So give me a couple of minutes, I'll give you some examples, try and clarify the difference between these 3 words so you can stop confusing these words and consequently improve your English. Let's go. So first up is the word travel. So travel is normally, nearly always a verb. It's to travel. And it means to move from one place to another. For example, I have to travel abroad for business next week. So you see here, it's a verb, something that you do, an action. But in some circumstances, it can also be a noun. But this is normally when you're speaking in general. And if you use the word travel as a noun like this, you're speaking about the act of traveling in general. It's not one specific occasion when you traveled as a verb. It's more speaking about the act of traveling in general. And it's normally used in combination with another noun. For example, business travel, air travel, a travel guide, travel insurance. So these are very common collocations or combinations of words which live together. Another point when travel is being used as a noun, it's normally uncountable. So this means you can't use a in front of it. So travel is not normally something that you will see. Also determiners, words such as my or your, are not used with the word travel as a noun. So my travel or your travel, this doesn't really exist in English. So the word travel, predominantly a verb and sometimes used as a noun, but most probably in combination with another noun. So the common mistake that most of my students make is they would say something like, how was your travel? So as I just mentioned, you can't use your with the word travel. It's normally a verb. So in this question, what you need is another word, and that brings us on to our second word, which is the word trip. So the word trip, it's normally a noun. And it means to go somewhere and to come back. The word trip can also be a verb, but has a different meaning. It has 2 completely different meanings. One is to fall over something, or it can also mean to hallucinate if you take hallucinogenic drugs. So completely different context. Don't be confused with those words. Here in this context today, it's a noun and it means to go somewhere and to come back. So in the question we just saw before, which was incorrect, it's not how was your travel, it could be how was your trip. Some other examples could be, we're going on a trip to Norway this summer. John is away on a business trip this week. So you see a trip, it's a noun. It's not being used as a verb in the other meanings that we saw. It's being used as a noun to speak about the entire time you were away. Now, let's look at the third word, which is journey. So journey, it's also normally a noun. And this is specifically the transport, the moving from one place to another, normally in a vehicle. So we could ask the question, how was your journey? But it's important to see the difference between how was your trip and how was your journey. The journey is really the transport, the going from A to B. And the trip is the entire time you were away, including the journey, there and back. So you could have a good trip, but a bad journey. You could have a bad journey there and a good journey back, but a good trip altogether. So trip encompasses everything and journey is very specific from A to B. Some examples could be, it's a 2-hour train journey from York to London. Or it's very common when people are leaving, you could say goodbye, have a safe journey. So it's something very common. If you have guests at work, in the office or at home, and when people arrive, it's very common to ask them, how was the journey? So this is normally people make the mistake here and say, how was the travel? This is really what you want to say, how was the journey? In this context, when you're receiving guests. Okay, but then you have to remember the context. Are you speaking just about the transport, or has somebody been away on holiday and you want to ask them about the full trip? So I hope that clears things up for you. 3 very similar words, a similar context, but with 3 different meanings. Hopefully you found it useful. If that's the case, please consider subscribing to the channel. We've got lots of videos on grammar and vocabulary, lots of different topics to help you improve your English skills. Check out the links in the description below. Thanks for taking the time to watch the video, and until next time, goodbye.